On to the third unit. So, topics like technology and crime, cyber crimes, economic crimes, white collar, organized, and then environmental. So, small related topics are there. So, maybe a couple of classes I intend to cover these up, and they are very nothing serious is there in that. One reading, everybody will understand that. And nevertheless, I will also be sharing material for that. Technology and crime. So, as the technologies evolve, it brings in with it both good and bad. Bad guys would like to take the bad side of it, and of course, law-abiding ones will try to utilize that for the purpose of investigation, or maybe for security purposes, or maybe the labs and all, they use these gadgets and all for better results, quick results, rapid results, and then very effective results and all. And uh, that way, technology has evolved over a period of time, and then we have to make use of this technology for the betterment. So, what is the relationship between technology and crime? How the crime side, the criminal side, how it is affecting? Are the slides moving? No.
Move it.
Wait for a second. Yes, it will move.
Page down.
Huh. So,
Page down.
what is that we have to understand? Whether the form of crimes committed today is the same as that of earlier. Now, same take the traditional or conventional crimes where burglary used to be earlier, the burglar profile is also completely changed. We used to have a lot of oil alignment all over the body, and then with one mask covered and all. The typical kind of a scenario we used to have. Now, of late, no burglar would disturb the neighbors without being noticed by them. He can use some acetylene flames and then make an entry very silently, and remove the glass frame and then make an entry. So he has got lot of gadgets to his credit so that he can commit the same traditional crime in a better way without being noticed with such rapidity that he can commit the crime and then also run away from the scene without being noticed by anybody. So there is a lot of difference between how the crimes used to be committed yesteryears and then how are they committed today. Now, how much is the crime prevention technique successful in preventing new crimes? So we say artificial intelligence, big data analytics, cryptocurrency. We talk of so many techniques, good techniques. But then, how effective are they in prevention of the crime? Are we successfully able to prevent all these new types of crimes? Though we have a lot of technologies to our credit, are we keeping pace with the growing technologies, and then are we able to take advantage of these technologies? Now, how much modern technology has helped in making new policies for preventing new crimes? So, does it help? So, if you want to make some policies, new policies, or bring in some SOPs in preventing new crimes, is modern technology helping us? Like, for example, I have taken the artificial intelligence, big data analytics. So, for the last 5-6 years, I try to analyze a particular area. What is the prevalence of a particular crime in that area? So with some CCTV, with some lighting of the road and all, will I be able to control the crime, prevent the crime at least happening? Because I have the data calculated, and then based on, because India is still a developing country, I cannot deploy resources lavishly. So I have to be very prudent in doing that, and then I have to use all my resources very sparingly. So in that case, where technology can go, even man cannot go, because we cannot afford to waste our resources. So if I can do this kind of analysis, big data analytics, and then try to apply artificial intelligence over there, and then I can know that these are the vulnerable places, these are the places where most of the crimes are happening. So only those chosen areas I will be deploying my people, resources, so that I can save my resources, and then I can use it very effectively. So are the organizations effective in dealing with such crimes, and whether the traditional techniques can be applied to these crimes? So we need to, I mean, everywhere you cannot employ the modern techniques. So where you can use still traditional ways and then can solve the issues. So there is no hard and fast rule that everywhere you need to use modern technologies. Now, new technologies are being misused for illicit purposes. As I already told, technologies, it doesn't discriminate between criminal and non-criminal, isn't it? It is in the hands of the person, it molds itself. So if the technology is in the hand of a right person, then it will be put for right purposes. In contrast, if it is in the hands of a bad guy, then he is going to use it for the illicit and unlawful purposes only. Now, how are we able to prevent or arrest the misuse of the technology? That is also another hand we need to focus upon. Then security purposes. Of course, lot of things are improving now. Security purpose, we are using technologies in so many ways, whether it be bomb detection or whether it is bomb disposal or whether it is bomb distraction. So whatever you may say, a lot of security technologies are also in place. It can be policing, it can be security issues, or it can be any other area. Now, technology advancement and contribute to public security, as I told you. There should be a balance between crime control and interest of citizens. So these need to be balanced always. Interest of the public at large, and the citizens, and then your prevention or control of crime. Now,
Put it down.
1 second.
No, put it down. Put it down.
One second, wait.
Put it down, no problem.
So now, how if somebody wants to define technology, what is it all about? So application of soft and hard science knowledge, methods to practice arts and skill. Technology continues to advance quickly while the organization and individuals are not quick enough to recognize the risks involved. See, all of us are aware that there are technologies, but then with it some risks also will be there. Now, it is wise on our part to understand the risk portion of it. If I apply a particular modern method, what is the risk, amount of risk I may have to incur? That also we need to understand. Now, new technologies are designed to achieve competitive advantage which may consist of trade related secrets, isn't it? So, if there is a business rivalry and all, if I want to have a competitive edge, then I need to take that, the technology forward, isn't it? I have to adopt that particular technology if I have to have an edge over the other person, competitor. So these secrets can be misused by criminals for an illicit purpose. Meanwhile, if somebody, a third party, a vested interest criminal, if he comes to know about these secrets, trade secrets, which always remain as a proprietary item, if it is in the hands of a person, third person, a vested interest person, like a criminal, then it can be used in an illicit way also, for an illicit purpose also. So, we have to cut a balance, as the previous slide says. We need to cut a balance between the good of the citizen and then the crime control and all. How effectively technologies are working towards that, striking the balance between the two. Then, as criminals compete with the security officials for technology advantage, continuously complex crime, policing and security results quite confusing and therefore unmanageable threats to society. See, now there is again a race between advancement of technologies and then the complexity of the crime. Now, as technologies are growing, so also the complexity of the crime is increasing day by day. So it is always a challenge for either the police officers who are doing the law and order or for the security personnel who are discharging their duties. So these threats, whatever they are becoming so unmanageable that we are not able to take full advantage of the uh, advancement in the technology. So we need to understand that also. What are the incoming risks along with the technology, and then are we able to manage those risks or threats to the society is also what we need to, because it is always a kind of a competition between the criminal and the officer, either whether it is a security officer or whether it is the police officer. It is always the competition that goes on, who is faster in picking up the technology. Then in today's world, everything is dependent on software. We know that even for IoTs and all, I mean, software is involved. Everywhere without software, we cannot imagine any work, day-to-day work without any software. So in the software is nothing but, a set of instructions in the form of information. Whenever data is there, it is organized and then it is going to give us some kind of a meaningful outcome, then we call that as information. So all information can be found on the internet, such as information related to manufacturing of drugs, how to commit suicide. Availability of such information so easily poses a risk to the world. Now, everything is at your fingertips. You want to establish a clandestine laboratory, and then go on working with the drugs, designer drugs, and then you flood the market with the kind of illicit drugs. You can do it. I mean, because every recipe is available in the internet, isn't it? Whatever, whether it be drug or whether it be some illicit transaction or whether it be some crimes and all. I mean, so vividly it has been discussed on the net. So information, it is available to everybody. How to commit suicide to that extent, it is all there in the thing. So easily poses risk to the world. So now there is a lot of risk involved, risk, plagiarism. So it is easy because everything is there on the net, and then you can only cut and copy paste. So easy. So plagiarism, earlier, to do a PhD, at least minimum 5 to 6 years it used to take. Now now and then you see thousands of students getting PhDs within no time. So all that you need not spend hours of time in the library searching for journals, searching for books, searching for literature and all. You don't require that much time. The previous data also, if you want, they are available on the net. They are available on their web pages and all. It is so easy for us to just modify a few parameters and then copy it ditto, Makki to Makki. So it's so easy. Most of the PhDs, I shouldn't be saying, it's not with a derogatory remark that I'm saying. Most of the PhDs, what I observe is, they are all plagiarism only, because most of the time when it goes for revision review, so most of the PhD students in the first go, they will be rejected because 80% plagiarism is there. Please reduce it. Okay. So that is rampant now, risk of plagiarism, forgery and other offences related to intellectual property. So easy, because intellectual properties, unless you go for some registration with the registrars of either patents or designs, whatever. So otherwise, you run a risk of somebody using your intellectual property. Significantly because of the digital technology. Because nowadays everything is, the purpose for which we have enacted the IT Act is very good. Taking unisexual model and all, trying to ensure that data is kept secure, and then every transaction can be done using electronic platforms, whether it be government filing or whether some licensing thing and all, or to the extent of booking tickets and all. Life has become so easy, but then with it also invited a lot of risks, isn't it? So there is a risk element, greater risk element that is involved, because we are in the digital technology era. Now, the evidence also for police, it is very difficult, so volatile, with one mouse click and all, the entire data is going to be modified. And then in the court you have to prove that it's not been muddled with it, the integrity is maintained, and all so many issues, because the evidence, unlike physical evidence, the electronic evidence is so volatile and so fragile that you have to be very, very careful in acquiring the data also. Now, cases of piracy are growing, and the government is not capable enough to control such crimes. Take, for example, the CDs, the movie CDs and all, uh, uh, before they are played in the theaters, you are going to get a copy of that, isn't it? So piracy is also rampant, and government, there is no wherewithal, that there, no infrastructure, no policy how to control this kind of crimes and all. The increase in electronic funds transfer system will boost the risk that these transactions may be interrupted and diverted. So we have seen day in and out some Bajaj scam, this scam, that scam. So where you are intending to transfer some fund from one account, you click it, and then from the bank you try to inquire. They say no, it has been deducted from my account, and then there is no way that it gets deposited in the designated place or person. So electronic fund transfer, though they say it's a secure systems and all, but still we day in and day out we see this kind of frauds happening. Then the major question is that how to ensure the security of commercial trade along with the competitive advantage. No doubt, if you adopt the technologies, you will have the competitive edge over your rival. But then with it comes the security issue also, unless you design your system so robust. Otherwise, every person who is a technique savvy, computer savvy, can penetrate through your system, identify vulnerabilities in your system, and then attack your system, and then jeopardize your entire business proposal, business processes. So that is quite common these days. Now, telecommunication, if you take, there also you see that frauds can happen, criminal conspiracy, global nature of information technology, criminal activity has become transnational because it doesn't believe in any boundaries. It is happening in the cyberspace, which has no boundaries at all. Now, a person sitting in one country can commit crime in another country. So it is so easy. All that I need to do is I should know the trade of hacking. Then I have to enter only from to that unit and then try to manipulate the data, or diminish the value of that particular transaction, or ensure that it cripples, so that the regular routine work cannot be done with the compromised system and all. Now, this raised the problem of jurisdiction. See, some countries, we have this issue, of jurisdiction, whether we have jurisdiction there or not, and then whether a particular thing is termed as a crime here, that may not be a crime elsewhere. So this kind of judicial issues are also there. It becomes difficult to identify where the offence has occurred. See, whenever it occurred there, you have to seek the remedy for that, isn't it? So when there is no jurisdiction, then how can somebody try that case and all, or register the case in the first place? There is no uniformity of law in the countries. So though we have enacted IT Act and all, a lot of special local laws, but then when it comes to implementation of the laws, there is no uniformity that is existing. So what constitutes a crime in one country may not be the crime in another country, as I have already told. So what I do is I only commit the crime here, where it is termed as a crime, a particular activity, and then flee away from my own country, and then take shelter in some other country where it is not at all a crime. So unless you have this kind of extradition and other facts and all, you cannot go and seek permission of that other country to hand over that criminal to you, so that you can do the prosecution in your country. So these kind of problems are there. The degree of punishment also differs with country to country. So apart from the non-uniformity of law implementation, but when it comes to punishment also, it is not that uniform throughout the countries. So these are the issues. Now, when it comes to categorizing the crimes, you can conveniently type these crimes. Crime changes with technology, of course, and becomes complex with time and distance, and depending upon the resource available, such as money or culture. So what are the three types of crimes, computer crimes, rather, when we say the electronic things are involved? Now, ordinary crime, we know these are all conventional crimes, they are, the crimes can easily be detected and prevented if they are ordinary, and then because we have lot of SOPs, and then the law enforcement officers are familiar and they know the law. They have been doing it is their job. They are doing it since so long, and now they are familiar with that. Whether a crime is ordinary or not is determined by the existence of statutes which define criminal behavior and security record keeping systems or police which keep a track of the crime. See, there should be some statute where that statute defines that particular crime, and for that particular behavior or act you have a enactment, and there is a prescribed law for it, and there is a definition for that, and then the kind of punishment that has to be given to that particular illegal activity is also defined, is also specified. If that is the case, no problem at all now. So they can keep a track, at least police can keep a track of the crime and then criminal, and then the investigation and all other things go on. Now, theft, burglary, robbery are ordinary. We know that property offences are there, bodily offences are there. They can easily be detected because the evidence is very solid there. Blood is quite visible, or some tool mark is quite visible, or some of the currency is visible, some document is visible. So when the physical evidence is quite visible, obvious, there is no problem in collecting those evidences and putting forth them to the lab and get the analysis report over there, and then file those reports, and then the prosecution goes on, and then guilt or otherwise can be proved so easily because evidences are quite obvious and they are visible. But unlike ordinary crimes, it is not the case with the cyber. Where evidence is volatile, it is not visible, it is difficult to acquire the evidences and all. Now, adaptive crimes are those, technology variations in ordinary crimes are called adaptive crimes. They are indicated through incremental as well as innovative use of technology. So they use the innovation of the technology that is happening, and then they try to adopt. So adaptive means they try to adopt. These crimes include one or more existing forms of security threats or crimes. They occur frequently even though the criminal behavior is not legally defined. This is the problem. So that particular criminal behavior is never defined in any law. So even the cyber crimes are the latest phenomena. Earlier we never used to have the cyber crime chapter like that. So adaptive crimes can be prosecuted with the help of existing legal tools. Though there is a behavior-wise there is no legal definition for that, but then with the help of existing legal tools we can still prosecute that crime. So they try to adopt the existing methodologies or technologies, and then they try to commit the crime. So they are called adaptive kind of a crime. Now, the new crimes are entirely, these forms of crimes are committed using absolute innovative technology which may not be illegal at the first instance of its occurrence. So, the act itself is not illegal. So, if you use that technology, abuse rather that technology, and then commit a particular crime, so this is a quite innovative. For that, nobody even thought of doing it. So first time they are listening that, and first time it is causing some kind of a harm or a trouble to the society. Only then it will attract, and only then it attracts the legislature or the police, and then maybe you will give a different name to it as a crime, and then under different definition you will try to incorporate that in the criminal laws, and then try to evolve a kind of a punishment for that. So this is a completely absolute innovation. You are using a technology which is very, very innovative. For the first time it is surfacing, and then you use that and then try to commit crime. So only after the crime is committed, then the people or the victim will come to know that I have been deceived, I have become a victim of that. Now, opportunities for new crimes are generated by demographic change. There are so many changes, economic reform, globalization, as we said, liberalization, globalization, and privatization. So this LPG has brought in with it so many changes here, and it has also created a new dimension and opportunity for the new crimes to be generated. Now, technological advancement, anyway, we know about that. These crimes happen rarely and are not detected easily. See, since we have no idea about the technology, so even if somebody tries to use the technology and try to commit crime also, we are unaware of the technology, we are unaware of the consequences of that. So naturally detection becomes difficult, not very easy initially. Police and security officers may not be able to detect these types of crimes because they do not have much knowledge, because they are unaware. They are only familiar with the conventional old type of old-fashioned crimes. So neither they have knowledge nor experience to deal with this type of crimes. So that is the reason why initially all the crimes, cyber crimes used to be reported in the general law and order police stations. But then as advances happened in the digital era, then they said, these people, local people, police people cannot handle because they are not experienced. So there is a creation of a new cyber police stations. So all the cases pertaining to cyber crime, they said that they have to be referred only to the cyber police stations. So because these people are unaware of the knowledge, neither they possess knowledge nor they are experienced. Then the complex and because they are very complex, they are not that simple as compared to conventional crimes, and they involve use of complicated technologies, of which neither the police nor the prosecutor nor the judge is aware of, except for the accused or except for the criminal. None of the stakeholders are aware of that. There are many suspects and victims, and there is a significant amount of loss are found. So public at large, when they are affected, only then we call that as a crime, isn't it? Contain various forms of adoptive and ordinary crime. See, they try to adopt these innovations and discoveries in the technologies, and then they try to commit this particular crime. Now, suicidal terror attack, to give some examples of September 2001, a new crime, because even though the crime murder was in existence previously, because it's all after all killing only, but then killing is done in a different way, in a novel way, isn't it? The technological means, that is crashing hijacked airlines into buildings, it's unheard of earlier, isn't it? Involved complete new innovation. So this is one example, suicide bombers also we have never heard before, that also we are witnessing. So it was not so easy to understand the nature of the terrorist attack. At that time, there was no specific law existing. Against hijacking an aircraft, simultaneously commit suicide, also mass murder. This was, no specific law was existing that time, so that this kind of a hijacking with an aircraft can be considered as a crime, and then have a definition for that, and then also run some prosecution, and then ensure that the person gets some punishment and all. So there are new kind of crimes, using the modern technologies. Now, technology and changing pattern of a crime. See, as technologies are evolving, so also the pattern, how a particular crime is committed, is also simultaneously changing. So activities such as online fraud or online exchange of child pornography. See, child pornography may be there as a print media and all, earlier also it was there. But then the circulation of this kind of a obscene material, pornography, child pornography, has become quite menace. Why? Because online it can happen, even online magazines, e-magazines and websites and all. It is so easy to spread and all. Now, wide range of novel approaches by which individual may break down the law. See, without being caught by the police or by the investigating agency, it is so easy. You are remote. You can operate remote. You need not leave any clue over there. So, without any clue and without, of course, clues are there, but then it becomes very very difficult for somebody to gather those clues and then make out a case out of that, and then try to go in search of the criminal, and then try to apprehend him, and then see the jurisdictional issues also there, and then try to have some kind of a permission to leave the country and all, apprehend him in some other country where it may not be termed as an offence at all. So these issues are very many. Technology not only facilitates the commission of many existing forms of illegal conduct, but also prevents a target for some new forms of illegality which are directed at technical products and services themselves. See, innovation is there on one side, positive side, and then the other face of it is also, use of the technology for illegal purposes. Now, some technological changes have created entirely new type of crimes: mobile phones, palm top, laptops, attractive targets for thieves who will steal not only the hardware but also data, isn't it? So it is so easy. They are not very bulky. It can be put in a pocket and it can be carried away so easily. Both hardware and software. Data, of course, is still fragile and still volatile. So it's easy to manipulate the data and then get away with it. Now, one of the main tales regarding technology and crime is, the much wider accessibility of contact and hence available pool of sufferers. So this is the tragedy of it. Now, increased potential for communication and illegal network of criminal activity on a global basis, because the criminals have a very good network. So their illegal activity spreads across the globe. So there is a lot of communication channels have improved communication. There is also modernization, there is also technological development in that. So it is very easy for these gangsters who are in networks to communicate so easily with the new gadgets, and then their activity can be spread all over the world, all over the globe. So that is also another problem with the police officer and tackling the crime is again a problem there. Personal computers have already been used to commit crimes of fraud, data manipulation such as counterfeiting and software piracy. See, so all that one needs is a good machine, good resolving kind of a scanners and all. So it's so easy. Counterfeiting has become so easy and so lucrative a job nowadays. All that you need to have is only a simple scanner, a good resolution scanner and all. So you can easily manipulate the data and all. So counterfeiting of some Coimbatore kind of a currency or some secure document, it's so easy because the same replica of machine they also use, and you don't find any difference. Most of the time, even RBI they declared fake notes or counterfeit notes as genuine notes, and only in lab with all sophisticated equipment and technologies we were able to say, no, you are erring, RBI. So it is not a genuine note; it is a fake note because these security features are lacking in this particular note. See, technology has also been important in the drug trade in the sense that new drugs can be developed with the help of technology, can easily be manufactured in large quantities, information is easily available on the internet and how to produce drugs and what drug to take for what kind of effect. See, now knowledge has no bounds, isn't it? When every information is available in the internet, all that one has to look for those specific sites, and then what is the drug I can make, and what is the minimum paraphernalia I require for that, what kind of a premises I require, and then what technology can I use, and with minimum technology, maximum benefit, how can you use large quantity can I prepare, and then all that information right from the production of the drug to what kind of effects it's going to give, what dosage somebody has to take, and what symptoms somebody can produce after consumption and all. Because most of the drug peddlers they are interested because their targets are victims. The more powerful the drug becomes, the more potent it becomes. Even with small quantities, if I am able to produce a similar kind of a effect, then it will have a very large marketing in the international market. It can earn you more money. Now, development in telecommunication increases opportunity for the theft and misuse of such services, like telemarketing frauds are there, and then false advertising companies are there now. Ola electric these days, and everybody is becoming a victim, including me. So there they say, everything is like very similar to the genuine one, except for some wording, some small lettering, some address and all. There is small. They will deliberately use a very small font so that our eye will not catch such details, because we are desperate to buy a particular thing, so we don't pay attention to such small details. So ultimately we become the victims of that. Why that particular is giving it at so cheaper a rate when other competitors, when they are quoting so much amount, why this fellow alone gives us for such a cheaper rate? We don't apply for a second, apply to such thinking, critical thinking, and then often we become the victims of that. Pray for that. Existing systems such as ATM, credit card, machine technologies very quickly become targets for the illicit intervention and alteration of the funds. So these are all quite common that we see every day, somebody or the other becoming victim of this. Now, banking and online shopping are also vulnerable targets. Technology has also allowed individuals involved in criminal actions to conduct such activities with reduced chance of detection. So now we know that the crime is happening, and then we know that this much money is lost, and we know who the victim is, but the sad part of the story is that you do not know who the perpetrator is. But then you will be defeated unless until you prove that so and so is the culprit and so is the evidence against him. There is no way that you can prove a case against him. So detection becomes most of the time very, very difficult. The technology also facilitates the production, storage, retrieval as well as transmission of material very rapid and remarkable. So it is all, channels are there, internet is there, other facilities are cloud computing is there. There are so many other facilities are available. So within seconds we can whatever material, whatever data we want to transmit, um, and with rapidity and then with such a speed that within no time we can send the information to the targeted person. Now encryption software is becoming more and more sophisticated, but at the same time also increasingly user friendly. See, we say that our data is encrypted, we are quite secured and all, it will be our data is protected. Those days are gone. Now encryption also, there are people who can use all kinds of algorithms and all, try to break that encryption and then try to decipher whatever is the material that is been encrypted. So easy now. It's all permutation combination. You have to use so many alternatives, and then that is the reason why we say keep a robust kind of an encryption mechanism. Use some algorithm such that the deciphering, encryption becomes a little difficult to decrypt and all. So we can, as I said, three categories of computer crimes. That is, first, use of computers or communication technologies to commit a conviction. So it's a common traditional crime, but then you are using computer as a means or as a tool. For example, forgery, we know that it is being defined in IPC. Fraud is defined, intellectual property, we have a entirely a new act on that. Extortion, these are all common traditional conventional crimes, but then you can also do it by using a computer as a means or as a tool to commit the crime. Now second category is technology to support the other crime activity, encryption, mobile phones, drug peddling, drug dealing, money laundering, all that you can do using the technology. The third category is technology where users like gaining unauthorized access into the computer systems, unauthorized use of computer system, creating or propagating hostile programs, for example viruses. So all that I need to, because I am unhappy with the security systems and I know that there are lot of vulnerabilities, um, there are patches in your system, and then I know that these patches are there, and I am a regular hacker. I have studied ethical hacking, but then if I do everything lawfully, I am not getting any benefit of it. So I adopt an illegal method. Then when let me use my knowledge in hacking for some other, for tracking or for doing some illegal activity. It is so easy now to gain an unauthorized access. Only thing is you need to be little savvy. You need to you need to have that training of hacking and all. So these days ethical hacking or hacking cracking recipes are there already in the net. So you can master that and then gain an authorized access. So either to corrupt the data that is existing or steal that data and then sell it elsewhere in the dark net, or sell it for some ransom, or you run such destructive programs like time bombers, or some logical bombers, or some kind of a virus, which is going to multiply itself. The program is self-destructive. It multiplies itself and then occupies the entire space in the computer, and then ultimately make the space unavailable to the the proper user or the owner of the computer. Now, what are the areas of electronic crime? If you try to understand, internet stalking is defined anyway in the new act and all. We know that constantly pursuing somebody, watching their movements and trying to intimidate them, and then trying to say that I know your secrets and all. This is a kind of a stalking. Now internet stalking is also there. Now identity theft, then internet gambling, betting and all, and the dissemination of objectionable porno material through net or web pages or journals, e-journals and all. Criminal exploitation of pension systems, development of drugs, new recipes of drugs and more potent drugs or more designer drugs. Then violence born of exclusion, then modern forms of slavery, crimes involving new reproductive technology trade in body parts and in human cloning. So this is also happening. Reproductive technology trade in body parts. So this is quite, we are seeing in the recent past these cases of lady doctor where that Dr. Ghosh is into this kind of, you know, body parts, unclaimed bodies and all if they are there, or if somebody comes for some kind of an ailment, so he is taking out the body parts and then he is using that for illegal trade purpose. Now, cybercrime involves criminal activity over computers, internet. Now, when it is internet, we normally say as cyber, and when it is only standalone thing, we call it as a computer crime. That's the only difference. Otherwise, cyber crime is a bigger thing, a bigger circle. In that, we have the computer crime. The term is not legally defined in any statute passed by Indian legislature, though the interpretation exists in court rulings. Now, common cyber crimes can be cyber stalking, cyber terrorism, email spoofing, and then the cyber pornography, cyber defamation. These things are, these are quite conventional crimes only, but then what you do is you use the medium of computer to spread this kind of a, or to commit this kind of a crime. And what is the nature and scope of cybercrime? Cybercrime nature is tied with complexity of society, and controlling it in virtual space is challenging, because we know that the nature of evidence that is available there is quite volatile and it is not visible in the first place, and then it involves a lot of remote operation, and then the criminal will not be there, and he will be operating remotely, and then where he sits, how he operates is not known to anybody, and this challenge is always there for the police to apprehend the criminal. Of course, to detect the crime is so easy, but then to apprehend the criminal and then recover that, whatever losses the victim has sustained, to recoup it is also very difficult. Jurisdictional issues are there because it's a borderless kind of a crime. Now, mens rea actus reus to show these things are also very difficult, because the evidence involved is intangible in nature. Neither you can see, neither you can perceive it. So it is intangible most of the time. Now, what are the characteristic features of a cybercrime? Typical specialized knowledge. Skilled individuals commit cybercrime, because unless you have a thorough knowledge of how to hack or how to enter unauthorizedly into somebody's system and how to take out the data, how to sell that in the dark web. These are all, activities which involve some skill, some specialized knowledge, isn't it? So only such people can do this kind of a crime. Geographical challenges, of course, jurisdictional, across the borders, we have a lot of issues when it comes to jurisdiction. Now, virtual world, cyber crimes occur in cyberspace without any physical contact. So remoteness is one thing, and then you will not be leaving any clue over there, you will not be available in the accused will not be available in the scene. So these are the virtual world issues. Now, evidence collection difficult due to the virtual nature of the crime scene. Now, you have to be very, very meticulous in collecting the evidences, even one illegal or unauthorized thing, because most of the programs are designed such that even with one keystroke, if you are trying to manipulate, then they may set the time such that a particular keystroke will result in the introducing a virus or maybe destroying the entire data and all. So these kind of things are booby traps, like in in real world where explosions and all, they try to keep booby traps. So such kind of things also can happen in virtual world. Then magnitude of impact. So in terrorism and all cyber terrorism, it is widespread. The entire country, for that matter, can be under cyber terrorism. Now, cyber pornography, using cyberspace to distribute obscene content, with various national and international laws struggling to address it fully. So they are not able to successfully do this, but we know that pornography is rampant, but then it is happening, we know that, but then how to control and then how to prosecute the criminals and all is the issue now. different legal tests need to be used, and then for definition, specific definition has to be there. And child pornography, as it is also a significant issue with Indian laws like 78B and all, where you need to submit your certificate, whether certificate is required or whether it is not required, in what circumstances 67B has to be submitted, what happens if I submit it at a later part of a time when the trial is happening and all. So there are again case laws, different case laws are there which we'll talk about, and we normally go by the latest what is happening, whether it is mandatory or can it be submitted at the time of cross and all. I mean, these are issues. Lot of case laws are becoming important these days. So every now and then they yes.
Ma'am, cybercrime certificate is mandatory nowadays. For criminal act, you have to submit it before the witnesses are taken. And for civil, you can submit it anytime.
Huh.
So
So
that
the
is the position. There are
latest.
last 4 months.
So some Bashir and all, I think they're all old cases, but then the latest. So the latest may be that
Mandatory now. There were some exceptions earlier.
no, they said some cases it may not be that important, but then nevertheless they said it is safe always to have a 65 by this side. That's what.
The biggest exception was when there was a terrorist attack on the market.
Uh,
At that time, certificate was not required because it was the act of the nation. And there were one or two other cases also where it was exemption. But now it is mandatory for all cases.
they said it is safer when you can procure and submit, nothing like that.
Even at pipeline is also given. That for before the prosecution starts, for criminal it has been submitted in
And then
advance.
during the trial also, that
During
means
the, no, before trial.
before
For
trial
criminal.
starts.
For criminal. For civil you can do during trial.
Okay, that is the distinction. Can you just recollect the case in which it's been given the latest?
I will
You can share that in the group. Thank you for that input. Now, there have been some enhanced provisions in the new enactment of BNS and all, cyber crimes more comprehensively they are dealt, and then specific provisions are there with regard to identity theft, and then with regard to the section 60 and all, there are a lot of things which have been addressed in the new act. I will not go into details because it's only, even in unit also there is only small chapter, so it is not an entire class on cyber crimes and all. So hacking, online frauds, but if you see IPC, similarly BNS, of course there is an elaborate enhanced provisions are included, but then earlier version of IPC, if you see, I mean, specific provisions were not that many with regard to cybercrime. Of course, they have been addressed in the IT Act and all enough, but then when it comes to IPC and all, it's only modification or amendment to that extent you can see in IPC. But then in BNS, there are some provisions at least which give enhanced punishment and provision there.
And for cyber crimes,
Yes.
IT Act reference is very important.
Huh.
Punishments are covered under section 48
Huh.
and other different crimes and what is the provision to punish and imprisonment, they fall between the sections section 60 to 78.
Chapter 11? Which chapter?
IT Act,
Ah.
section 60 to
Then a chapter 11, if I can remember.
I think chapter 11.
Ah.
It's chapter 11.
So, but only thing is, whenever we have a provision also in IPC, but then we try to put the more relevant sections under specific law, because the punishment that is there given is more stringent and more, for the fine is also little huge there. So that is the reason why, though there is a similar provision in the IPC, we try to include red with bolke R by W karke, we try to put the provisions from the special local law.
Both acts are applied now.
Because the purpose why we include specific special local law is there we have a enhanced punishment in terms of fine and in terms of imprisonment also. It is a little more stringent compared to the major criminal major acts. So that is one reason why we try to put IT provisions also whenever we talk of cyber crimes.
Yeah, lately, even judiciary appears to cyber crimes, IT first before they go to IT. That's the case.
I know.
Information is not there in ITS, then how they get to IT?
Of course.
Not otherwise.
I know. So cyber stalking, as we know now, the use of internet to harass, intimidate individuals, constantly watch her movements and where she is going, at what time, what she is doing. So this is all monitored, online. Harassment, threat, or the intimidation. So legal recognition, India laws like 66 of the IT Act. Now, of course, it was struck down because of that. What was that case? Murariji, there was some case after that 66A has been repealed.
It was speech and expression.
No, what was that famous case after that? I'm not able to recollect. There was one Shiva Sena person there.
Yeah, it is judgment by Supreme Court also.
So there was lot of
Footage on
messages, the footages were there, and then one single cycle, what was her name? I'm not able to
single
recollect.
Saturday is there.
So that was a very famous. After that, it was struck down. It was struck down.
Yeah, that's right.
So of course, similar sections in criminal law 354D and all, of course, these have no relevance. In that place, similar corresponding new act, you can always refer that. Because the content-wise, they remain the same, except for few changes otherwise. Hacking, of course, it is successful or unsuccessful attempt to gain unauthorized use or access to the computer system. Hacking as cybercrime is very dangerous for the internet because it has the effect of eroding the credibility of the internet. So all that one has to know is you know how to gain entry into a particular system, and then once you gain control over the other system, whatever you want to do, you can do it very easily. Either steal the data available there or disrupt the data if it is so vital, and then or sell it for some dark web and then get ransom money out of that, or you can do any kind of or introduce some kind of a virus so that it will destroy the entire system. And also once you have the access, once you have an entry without the permission of the other person, then whatever you want to do with the system, you can very well do it. Being being remote also, you can do that. That is the beauty of the hacking. Of course, ethical hacking and all, what is cracking and all, I think I need not elaborate here, but anyway, once the software business entities, if they try to develop a new software, so they deliberately try to throw challenge to the hacker, ethical hacker they are called. So their job is they will be paid for that purpose. So they will thoroughly study the software, they'll do the manipulation in that, and then ensure that they can enter into it, and then what are the vulnerable points, what are the patches there, and then how much data can be compromised, and then what are the precautions they are supposed to take up so that these vulnerabilities can be arrested to some extent. So this is the job of an ethical hacker, and then they are heavily paid hackers. Ethical hackers are heavily paid, and then the system, the software business processor, they try to give it to them so that they can identify these vulnerabilities and tell them what are the remedies to patch up those vulnerabilities. Now viruses, as we know, the growth of these kind of computer crimes has become far more visible over the past decades. The largest threat faced by the world of the computers today is the threat of corruption and damage to the digital information induced by a human agent with the help of various types of programs. Virtual information research under siege is the full form of virus, by the way. Now, what they do is they try to create some small programs, and then some are time bound also. Now, once this system successfully enters into the once this virus program successfully enters into the system, it can do lot of activities, like it has got the capacity of 1 second, let me have some water and then get back. So these programs are written, very small programs, and then without knowledge of the innocent owner of the computer, they get very easy access to these systems, and then since they have the capacity of replicating themselves within no time, so at the boot level or at the OS system level, so they can corrupt the system, because once they start replicating, the entire useful space of the computer is filled up by the copies of the viruses, so that the useful data, if you want to store and all, if you want to create a file and all, you will not be able to do that, because the entire space is used. There is no space unutilized there, so it is filled with the copies of the virus. So it can create a lot of havocs. It can destroy the entire data, the vital information, the cryptic information, or the information which is very, very confidential. It can take out all that, because it's going to fill in with itself with a lot of copies. So logic bombs and Trojan horses are some of the names of such viruses. Then cyber pornography, child pornography, we have already discussed this. Of course, cyber. Yes. Because she is trying to send in a lot of, flooded kind of emails and all. Because there was some rampant attack on these things. I'm exactly not able to recollect that, but then this is the famous case. After that, it got stuck down. And cyber terrorism, as we know, they are like any other terrorism, nuclear, biological. This kind of cyber terrorism is also, it also uses a lot of cyber tools, either to shut down the critical national infrastructure. So we have a lot of critical infrastructures whose security is the entire duty of the state, isn't it? So transportation, energy, yes.
It happened in month of March. Somebody tried to attack our RBI system.
This is, quite banks and all, there are no exceptions, every.
For few minutes, our control mechanism is very strong there. But for 7 to 10 minutes, it was
I
non-operational.
know that is quite sufficient, because there were days when we heard that complete blackout in the country and all these kind of things we keep hearing many times. So our vital infrastructures are, transport is one thing, energy is one thing, communication systems is one thing. Unless until we have a strong kind of a security measure for that system. Otherwise, every other belligerent country by the side of our country can gain an access, and then they can shut down our systems, isn't it? So this is.
RBI infrastructure is very critical now, because the entire RTGS system is
I know.
functioning through RBI. It is a generalizing agency for entire economy in the country.
Of course.
So that is why it is very important.
Internet bomb threats, internet harassment, technology-driven crimes such as focused virus strikes. These are all.
Even pager bombs nowadays.
Which
They
one?
are not use of pager bomb.
I know, of course.
Israel use of pager bombs is they are not necessary.
So in the Ukraine war also, I think last time a lot of cyber technologies have been used, I suppose.
They are all Indian scientists sitting there and doing.
Of course. So some landmark case also I try to give here, Delhi Red Fort case, steganography. They have used this, in comparison of cryptography, where the rival is allowed to detect, intercept, and then transform messages without even being able to violate confident security premises guaranteed by the crypto system. The goal of the steganography is to hide messages within other inoffensive messages in a manner that does not allow any enemy even to even detect that there is a second hidden file. So it is almost like in a visible photograph, somewhere some dot, very insignificant place, it will be there, it goes unnoticed, and that small dot will contain the hidden message or hidden kind of information. Only the other person who knows the how to decrypt that will be able to understand. So this kind of a hidden message, sending hidden messages is a kind of a steganography. Now you can send in lot of messages in the cryptic form, and then so it appears as if it is inoffensive, but internally it will carry some other very strong message for the other enemy person, so that he can understand that and then he can execute that. So in the Red Fort case, the investigations further revealed that the conspirators were sending messages to their accomplices embedded behind the pornographic material. So these are some of the cases, where they have really used the technologies, and then it made the investigating officers go helter skelter, and then really they have taken their task. Of course, Parliament attack, all of us we know, using a duplicate car pass to gain access. Almost it looked as if a kind of a pass issued by MHA. So they had somehow entry into the parliament, and after that, what has happened, every one of us knows. Now, technology and crime investigation, of course, this is also there in the syllabus. Now, personal identification, a series of body measurements were applied to identify the criminals. Nowadays, biometrics, iris, photograph, and then the biometrics of fingerprinting, and then the biometrics of the hand geometry, the gait pattern, isn't it? The blood grouping techniques. All these are there for the personal identification. And then in Aadhaar card kind of thing also we have this technology is being used. And then of course your punching cards and all in offices and all. Of course the technology, it has also invaded our FSLs also. You have DNA fingerprinting, touch DNA technologies, nanotechnologies, the miniature eras, and these are there even in FSL's investigation. It has spread its tentacles everywhere. Now, crime laboratory for criminal investigation, if you say, generally developed by those agencies whose main purpose is to investigate the crime. New technology helps forensic scientists who possess various skills to face active involvement in the criminal justice system. So, new technologies, we know earlier it used to take a lot of time for a single evidence item to process it, to extract the DNA out of it, and then to understand quality wise how it is to be quality wise how effective it is, whether we have enhanced the quality, what techniques are there. So it used to take a lot of time for a single sample to be processed, and then to obtain a profiling of that. It used to take months and days together. Now, thanks to the technologies that are there, a high thorough a single, instead of a single evidentiary item, you can process a batch of items together. So throughput of the system is, very good now. And then the effective time that we spend for processing has also drastically reduced. And then instead of bench top kind of a equipment, now you have a miniature version of it coming into the market. And then the time that is taken is also reduced, and then lot of automation is happening, so that the manual intervention will become less, and then the errors that can creep in with the human intervention can also be reduced. So these kind of technologies are also available in the crime labs or the FSLs or the forensic science laboratories. So basic and optional services, because not all labs can afford to have this kind of a technological innovations, and then budgetary provision is also another restraint, constraints rather. So, so some FSLs adopt semi-automation. Some may go for fully automated, or some may go for nanotechnologies. And these things are spread to FSLs also. The technology development also has gone into FSL labs. Physical science unit examines the principles of geology, physics, chemistry to catch hold of the criminals with the help of evidence available at the crime scene, such as explosive, soil, drugs, paint. So earlier, only when bulk evidence is there, FSLs used to examine and then say. Now even at the nanogram level, picogram level, even if at that level, if the evidence is available also, like in touch DNA technologies, even with the um, microgram level or nanogram level, if the evidence is available also, then we have technologies where with us, so we can identify that and then profile it and then try to identify, then correlate that with the accused sample and then pick the accused there. Microscope was very helpful in identifying. So a lot of innovations has happened now. Microscope, all that we used to do is only observe that, and then there was no way to record it. Now the microscopes are coming with an added advantage of data which can be with a computer thing, so that all data can be preserved in the computer, and you need not strain your eye, and then you have an attachment of LED screen over there, and then you can adjust, obtain a picture over there and take a picture, submit that as an evidence in the court of law. So these are all the things which I just wanted to discuss. I thought I'll also complete other small things also, but anyway we have a lot of time still. So for today we'll call it a day. We'll leave it.
Thank you.
Well.
Thank you.